afternoon, Australia. I'm Mike Raymond. Welcome to Wanneroo Park in beautiful Western Australia for round 7 of the Shell Ultra Australian Touring Car Championship. What a showdown we have here today. 3 points the difference, of course, between the series leader Dick Johnson and Jimmy Richards, but they haven't got a slice of the front row. Alan Moffat, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mike. No, Tony Longhurst in his Benson and Hedges Sierra put in a lightning time to get pole alongside Peter Brock, who's showing great form again on the front row of the grid.
Who's your pick?
I think there's going to be a real fight between Longhurst and Brocky. They've got nothing to lose. They're not in the points. There's 2 races here today, the people that want to win the race and the people that want to win the championship. So between Dick Johnson and Jim Richards, there'll be a nice scrap. But certainly the guys that want to get the checkered flag, that's anybody's race.
It certainly is. And let me tell you this, that the Wanneroo Park racetrack has been lucky for a few drivers and unlucky for others. For Dick Johnson, it hasn't been the best of places for the past 2 years. But who better to show us the local terrain at Wanneroo? Take it away, Dick.
Thanks, Mike. Now for lap of Wanneroo, across the start-finish line, up the 4th gear, on the brakes at about 150 metres, back to 2nd gear for a right-hand sweeper. This one that really sort of knocks the tyres around a bit. Accelerate hard out ahead, up through the dogleg here. This is very tricky up here where you sort of get the car all unbalanced and you've got to brake. Leave it in 3rd gear for a left-hand sweeper up the hill, the only real left-hand corner, and then a fast right-hander across the top of the hill here where the car understeers a little bit, up the 4th gear, downhill, on the brakes at about 150 metres, back to 3rd gear. Now this corner continues around to go uphill very steeply, and the car accelerates really hard up here, 2.7 bar of boost into 4th, 5th gear, 158 miles an hour, 150 metres on the brake, back to 3rd gear, right-hander back onto the main straight. When I get ready to do a bit of racing, Mike, you can sort of read out the grid.
Thank you, Dickie Johnson. Here's how they line up. Tony Longhurst on pole on the B&8 Sierra. From 2.05, Peter Brock in the mobile machine. From 3, car number 20, Alan Jones, the second of the B&H cars. From 4, number 2, Jim Richards, first drive in the Nissan GTR. Glenn Seaton, 35, starts from position number 5. From 6, it's 18, John Bowen, the second of the Shell cars. From position number 7, national champion Dick Johnson of Queensland. From 8, 16, Win Percy, back in the Holden today. From position 9, car number 8, Colin Bond, after a hat trick in the Caltex machine. From 10, 11, Larry Perkins in the Castrol Commodore. From 11, it's Mark Scaife in the Nissan Skyline. From 12, 55, Kevin Waldock in a Sierra. From 13, 23, Chris Lambden in a Skyline. From position 14, 62, Neville Crichton in the third of the B&H cars. From 15, 30, Drew Price. From position number 16, 96, Perth's own Alf Barbagallo. From 17, 24, Gerald Kay. And from position 18, 71, Johnny Faulkner in the Toyota Team Corolla. The man they'll all have to beat, though, is Tony Longhurst. And with him, Neil Crompton.
Mike, the practice pace setter here at Wanneroo yesterday was the Bathurst winner of 1988, Tony Longhurst. Tony, it was a tremendous time, and it would appear as though you've got a marvellous package for this afternoon's race.
Yeah, actually, our package is the best we've ever had it. The tyres are hanging in there, and I'm confident of a good result today.
That's the big trick, isn't it? Trying to predict the right sort of compound for 50 minutes of hard racing, particularly on an abrasive track like this.
Well, with our cars now, they're so powerful, they really just chew into the tyres. We've got close to 600 horsepower race trim, and they give them a hard time.
You reckon you can do the job?
I think so.
Good luck this afternoon. Tony Longhurst, the pole sitter. We're back after this break with The War from Wanneroo.
Back here at Wanneroo Park in Western Australia, we have the cars just completing their warm-up lap. Thank you for joining us live across Australia this afternoon. As you can see, the Benson and Hedges Sierra of Tony Longhurst, followed in there by Peter Brock. They'll share the front row. And Alan Jones, we expect a lot of Alan here today. And Jimmy Richards, of course, fronting in the Nissan GTR Skyline for the first time. Well, we've certainly had bad weather at Wanneroo for the past couple of years, but Dave Christensen, things look a little better today.
Mike, it's an absolutely sensational day here. The sky is clear blue, a few wispy clouds around. The forecast maximum today was 18. We're going to be fairly close to that, I guess, by the time they go past the green flag again. And the crowd, I guess, between 15 and 20,000. A little hard to gauge, but a great day for everybody here.
Thank you, David. And we're about probably 15 seconds away from the start. Neil Crompton and Alan Moffat, along with Mike Raymond, to call the action for you. Neil, your pick.
Oh, real hard question to answer, Mike. Peter Brock
or maybe Jim Richards, I think, for this one, but it's going to be tough.
It sure is. We're about 10 seconds away from the start, the penultimate round of the Shell Ultra Australian Touring Car Championship, live from Wanneroo in the west. Who's it going to be? Green light on. Brock wins the charge, and Jim Richards out like helter-skelter down the outside. A bad start from Longhurst. Jones got the best of that. They'll all peg into the right-hander. Very, very tight turn, but it'll be Brock in front with Jim Richards right behind him. Alan Moffat, things couldn't be looking much better for Jim Richards at this stage.
No, a great start, Michael, and he really wanted that because Alan Jones and Tony Longhurst, no mean fellows to be dicing with on the opening laps. He's in a beautiful spot. If Brocky's up marginally faster with his quicker time in practice, he can just lunge in there behind him, pick up a bit of the slipstream, although that doesn't look like he's going to be doing much of that on the opening laps. Here's a go by Longhurst.
Well, that's very close stuff as they swing through there. Longhurst picking up the threads of that as they exit Kolb Corner and work their way up the hill. There's Brocky out in front. Longhurst in second. Next is Jim Richards, followed by Alan Jones. A good start also from young Glenn Seaton and the Peter Jackson Sierra, and then Dick Johnson and John Bow pretty close. And also a good start there from Win Percy in the Holden.
Yes, extremely good. Qualified well yesterday, and will be in here at the beginning in the opening laps, actually holding John Bow up there a little bit.
Well, as you can see, Richards got off to a great start, but he's now back to fourth on the queue behind Brock, Longhurst, Jones. Next one back, of course, is the Peter Jackson Sierra, with young Glenn Seaton at the wheel.
Well, Richards won't care about who's in front of him as long as it isn't Dick Johnson. And he's got a nice position here now just to bed his tires down, get himself into a nice groove, and take advantage of any slipstreaming he can from the leaders, but he's not concerned about pressing his point at this moment. He'll be simply watching his rearview mirrors to see how close Dick Johnson gets onto his back bumper bar.
It's interesting looking at the times from the warm-up this morning. Peter Brock was the pace setter with a 59.21, which compares very favourably with the sort of speed that he got out of the car yesterday. Alan Jones was second quickest, John Bow third quickest, and Jim Richards the fourth quickest of the pack. As we look there at Tony Longhurst now narrowing the gap to race leader Peter Brock. Alan Jones running with him, then Jim Richards, Glenn Seaton, Dick Johnson, John Bow now ahead of Win Percy, Colin Bond, Kevin Waldock, Larry Perkins.
The bad news for Alan Jones is I think he's been pinged for jumping the start. The car did actually move off the blocks, and the officials next to us here at Wanneroo have already indicated that he didn't make the best of starts.
Well, he didn't make the best of starts either from the officials, Michael. They held the red light on for a half a day, and I certainly wouldn't be reprimanding Alan Jones on that one. It was a very long red light, and I wouldn't be giving the starter a pat on the back at the moment.
They can sort that out later. In fact, they gave him the 10 seconds to go signal that seemed to go for 30.
Exactly. It's very hard to keep your foot on the clutch wearing out $10,000 clutches. Never mind, you're seeing the practice times, as you mentioned, Neil, the three cars that were on the front row in the first two rows performing extremely well. Not hardly a half a car length between them.
Well, there's the order: Brock, Longhurst, Alan Jones. Next is Jim Richards in the Nissan, then followed, of course, by Glenn Seaton in the Peter Jackson Sierra. Jones fairly close now to the tail of Tony Longhurst, who looks like he wants to go on with this. There's Jimmy Richards through in car number 2.
I think Brocky's got a slightly more calculating race here. He's not leaping out in front like he did in Malala. He's very conscious of the fact that he didn't get all the way home last weekend or 2 weekends ago. And I would be saying, from what we're looking at, he's definitely just being a little bit more cautious. He doesn't mind anybody in his rearview mirror anyway.
Bury the foot and throw the soot. That's Brocky once again here at Wanneroo today. Almost a repeat of Malala a fortnight ago.
Exactly.
The important thing here is for everybody to bear in mind that they're in a 45-minute race, not a 60-second race, and it's very hard to temper your enthusiasm and constantly think about your tyres. And this track's renowned for, as we look at the 1-minute penalty for car 20, Alan Jones, for allegedly jumping the start, but I'd have to agree with Alan. The length of time the cars sat there was crazy.
Well, that won't make Alan Jones feel very good at the moment. In fact, if he gets out and passes his team leader here on this lap or the next, you'll know that he's pretty well set tail with the 60 seconds.
Yep.
I'm going to go for this race, and I don't even care about my tires anymore. That'd be the frame of mind that he'd be in at the moment.
What I was going to say is the track's renowned for being abrasive, lots of grit in the surface, and this track particularly is a track where all the drivers are going to have to be extremely mindful of the way they use their rubber. 2.41 kilometres, lap record around about 60.5 seconds. They're well under that from their practice form. Racing very hard at the moment. We'll get the clocks going on the next lap and see what sort of speed Brock's got in car 05. But Tony's certainly running with him. Had a boost problem at Mallala with car number 25. Brock's got a 0.6 margin over Longhurst at the moment.
Well, it's certainly still anybody's race. They're in a tremendous grouping there. I don't think we've seen the field this close. A nice clean start by everyone. There were no bumps and scrapes on the opening lap, which is a help, and everyone now is truly in the groove, running a pace that they're comfortable with.
It's been the great thing about the Shell Ultra Touring Car Championship this year, Alan, that so many of the cars so closely matched, and traditionally we look at the top 10 in each of the races and there's just nothing between them. We take a look at the replay here of the start, looking from the Peter Jackson Sierra of Glen Seaton. And as Alan Moffat quite rightly pointed out, a good, clean, healthy start, although Alan Jones, they say, jumped the start.
What a pity.
That's how we saw the start of round number 7 as they headed off to the left-hander. But back live, and here's Peter Brock. He's got a tiger by the tail in Tony Longhurst, who's joined onto the back bumper here. Alan Jones sits back in third. Jimmy Richards, a very consistent fourth. And then Glen Seaton doing a great job today in the number 35 PJ Sierra.
Yes, Longhurst is actually getting dangerously close. And by danger, I mean a slipstream factor blocking the cool air going into his radiator. These turbocharged cars run at enormous temperatures. And he's in danger, if he got much closer than that, of starting to fry his engine. So every now and then, if you see him pull out to the right or the left, when he gets super close to Brocky's back bumper bar, it's just to keep the fresh air going into the car.
Last lap for Peter Brock was 60.53.
Well, against a qualifying time of 58.6, that's very respectable and a very healthy time, as a matter of fact. But I'm impressed with the way the field is compressed. There's Jimmy sitting there in a very comfortable fourth. Dick now in sixth with Jim in his sights. He'd obviously like to get a little bit closer, and it looks as if that's what he's working on. He's really not too far away from Seaton. He'd really dearly like to get right up on the tail of Jim Richards and then just run him down into the last lap.
We take our Nissan race cam inside the GTR.
The car fourth at the moment, just ahead of Glen Seaton fifth.
They really have been busy with this car with the computer experts the last couple of days here at Wanneroo. In fact, someone suggested they've made more program changes than Broadcom.
That's a rather healthy amount then, isn't it?
Well, he's been fairly busy in the car. Keeping in mind that Mark Scaife has done all of the development work in the car. Jim only stepped into the vehicle yesterday. But he's hanging in there behind the Sierras. But the man he has to keep behind him is Dick Johnson. At the moment, he's 2 back behind Jim Richards.
I'm sure some of our viewers are wondering about the smoke that they're seeing from the Brock car, and you saw a great example of it there.
Yes.
As they went down into the braking area at the bottom of the straight. But the boys assure me that that's just the way things are with the way they've set the engine up. And Alan, you might be able to give a better technical description of what may or may not be going on there.
One of the innovations that George Smith has put into this car for Peter is a straight through exhaust system. You'll notice that the tailpipe is coming out the back as it would in its normal position on a regular car. And really what we're seeing here is an accumulation, a long tailpipe accumulation of smoke, which is only going out as Peter decelerates and has his foot on the brake. If it was doing that when he was in the middle of the main straight under full bore, it would be a different story altogether. But a very long tailpipe is accumulating those gases. Apart from the fact that in an hour race that we've got, a 45-minute race, the cars are set in a richer position than they would over a long race.
1.2 seconds now the gap from Peter Brock to Tony Longhurst, so Brock's managed to ease some of the pressure away in that last lap. And Brock leading from Longhurst, then we see Alan Jones still in third, question mark. Then we've got Jim Richards fourth, Glen Seaton, Dick Johnson, John Bowe, Colin Bond the next man, and Wyn Percy wins in 9th position with Larry Perkins in 10th.
Well, Dick Johnson likes to lead races, and he's certainly done enough of that in his career and certainly around the Shell Series. But today he had the choice of 2 Dunlop tires that he could go for. a harder or a medium compound, and to secure his chances in the championship, he took the harder tires, and just not able to match it with the performance of the Benson and Hedges cars at the moment. But that's not to detract from his ultimate ability to do well in this race.
He said on 7 News last night that the tyres he chose were so hard there were sparks coming from them. I think a lot of the guys here have been caught out with softer tyres than they'd like once they get to the latter stages of these races, so Johnson doesn't want to be caught out with that this time, with a championship at stake.
Exactly. He's running a good, solid 6th position there. There's no difficulty. He can see the leaders. He won't be too distressed at this stage. And bear in mind, he's only got the Nissan GTR of Jimmy Richards that he's really looking at. The other 2 cars he could care less about.
This man, Dick Johnson, one of 2 drivers to pick up 2 victories in this year's championship. Colin Bond and Dick with 2 apiece. And Jim Richards also with a couple of wins.
The Shell cars are prepared immaculately. And I can't recall when either car has ever failed in a race, so today's not likely to be the start of that.
Good performance here from Glenn Seaton at the moment in the Peter Jackson number 35 car. 2 cars from this team this weekend with Drew Price at the wheel of car 30. Glenn's done a lot of miles over here, making sure that the car's in perfect trim and is right on the tail of the Jim Richards mobile at the moment.
Well, it's good to see Peter Jackson funding a 2nd car and giving a local driver a chance, and it's a chance of a lifetime for Drew Price. He's nominated as co-driver in the team for Bathurst, so he's getting his 2nd or 3rd baptism here.
These 2 cars on Yokohama tyres, Richards and Seaton, the lead car on Bridgestones at the moment.
They're on their way down to Kolb Corner. Car number 35, Glenn Seaton. Best showing by Glenn and getting a little closer to the leaders as they go into the right-hander. That ain't about who leads our event, though, at Wanneroo. It's Brocky doing the same as he did at Mallala. That's how close he is to the tail of Jim Richards, and our race leader Peter Brock coming down for the completion of 1 more lap down the hill through the right-hander and along the start-finishing straight.
Gap now.
Let's have a look at them for you now, perhaps on our Toyota race score. Peter Brock is your race leader in the Mobil 1 Racing Sierra. 2nd spot held by Tony Longhurst. 3rd is Alan Jones, tentatively at this stage. In 4th spot, Jimmy Richards in the Nissan GTR. And 5th, Glenn Seaton. back at Wanneroo Park. Round number 7 of the Shell Ultra Australian Touring Car Championship. There's Glenn Seaton getting closer all the time to Jim Richards in the Nissan, and he's closing on Alan Jones. So we have quite a scrap going on here for 3rd, 4th and 5th.
But out in front, Peter Brock is showing who's boss here today with a 4 and a bit gap, 4.5 seconds, which is relating to almost at least 10 car lengths. He's really got his Mobil 1 car flying today and feeling very comfortable.
Great shots here from our Dulux Autocolor race cam as we go through the S's, and how close Glenn Seaton is moving in on Jimmy Richards. He also has Alan Jones in tow as they keep across to the right. Now the run downhill here at Wanneroo.
What a hill here too, Michael. It's much steeper than it looks. There's Jim trying to have an inside run, a little bit tight. I don't think you'd want to try that too many times. A few of us have landed up in the sand there trying smart maneuvers down there. And I do say a few of us, not mentioning any names, of course, but I can represent that remark if I have to. Jim is definitely in the slipstream of that car in front of him. There's no two ways about it.
I'm surprised watching the back of the Nissan, Alan, that how lively the car is. I mean, the car really moves around a lot, slides a lot, probably more so than you'd imagine. Alan Jones working furiously there at the wheel of car number 20.
Yes, I think probably the car, with all respect to the efforts that have gone into getting it here today, is less than at its finest position. It takes any team a number of months to fine-tune a car. They've got the basics in place, and credit to them, but this new GTR is going to require a bit of finessing and a few more months to get it exactly the way they want. And you've hit a very good point. It is wiggling around a little bit at the rear, but Jim is compensating. You can see him flicking the wheel back and forth. They've got power steering on this car. It is a heavy engine across between the front wheels, and just to make it a little bit easier for the drivers, power steering, but that doesn't mean you still don't have to control it.
I think it's actually a credit to Fred Gibson's team that you know, they've brought a car out and introduced it in the middle of a race program. That's always a very difficult thing to do when you're setting your development and race program with your existing car. This car's been, well, not cobbled together, I shouldn't say that. Andrew Bartley and the boys have worked tirelessly to make sure that the thing's the finest possible machine. But as you quite rightly say, you look at the history of your cars, the Mazdas, the Sierras, you look at the Holdens, so on. It generally takes a season or two to get the absolute best out of them, because there's an enormous amount of kilometres have to be logged to be able to understand fully what the car behaves like and what it does and doesn't like at various tracks.
The compatibility of each part, you get it right at one end, it goes bad on you at the other end. You fix the other end, then the front end goes bad again. But I think credit where credit is due, and the Nissan team definitely have worked hard to get this car here, and to be running as strongly as it is in its second race is a credit to everyone.
And it would seem they're also running the car a little more conservatively today than perhaps they were at Malala, where it was able to pull up alongside a Sierra and bolt past. It's not doing that here today.
Not doing that here today, Michael, and also Jim's looking at a good distance into this race already. He hasn't got Dick Johnson right on his bumper bar, although he's praying there, just like a praying mantis there, just behind Glenn Seaton. He's not far away. I think you're going to see a real race in another 15 minutes between the GTR and Dick Johnson. Certainly the leaders are well and truly gone. They're not worried too much about that position.
Critical thing here, of course, is the championship. Dick Johnson leads with 79 points from Jim Richards here in car number 2, 76 points. Colin Bond with 61 points. And of those three drivers, Jim Richards the leader of that pack at the moment, as Peter Brock continues to lead with a very healthy margin out to about 5 seconds now from Tony Longhurst, and really opening up to virtually the full half length of this back straight, which the drivers are on at the moment.
Well, anytime you give Peter Brock 5 seconds, you're asking for trouble, because he'll just be nursing his car now. He'll have that little bit of time up his sleeve to do exactly what he has to save his tires and take care of the rest with the car. He'll be doing extremely well.
He's bolting on that last lap. The gap's now out to 7.5 seconds. That's unbelievable.
He's extremely happy with his vehicle. It ran well. Didn't get on the front row for nothing. It ran well in qualifying. He's got it where he wants. He's got fresh air in front of him. No one to bother him on every lap. No traffic whatsoever. And he's really capitalizing on his advantage. And that's what professional racing is all about.
And has actually commanded a few of these races from the front, which is something that Tony Longhurst hasn't done this year. Well, Dick, it all seems to be going quite nicely. He's, of course, carrying our Dunlop race cam. as he heads down to the right-hander at Kolb. How's it going, Dick?
Oh, not too bad, mate. It's having a bit of problem early in the race trying to get tyres warm. But now we go a bit warm. Hopefully the others will start to come back to us.
It looks that way from up here.
Yeah, well, I've also got a twisted rear half shaft, which is vibrating like, well, I won't tell you what.
No.
Like something.
But it's, you know, it's having a good old shake. And I've had it before, but I don't think there'll be a problem.
Dick, with
I've just got to try and get in front of Gonzilla there.
Dick, with 20 minutes down in this race, are you comfortable about your tyre choice?
Well, at the moment, but we'll just see how the other guys fare too.
Okay, Sam, I'll let you get back on the job.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mel.
Nicky Johnson carrying our Dunlop race cam.
Should explain, Mike, that when you choose a harder tire, the driver has to work twice as hard. We all like any advantage we can get, and the softer tire makes it easier to drive. It controls the car easier. You can throw it around a little bit more, and the tires will fight back and keep you from sliding off the planet. With a hard tire, Dick's got to be much more precise, and it does make life a lot harder for him.
Well, here's Alan Jones. There's our race leader. Let's look at the gap back to Tony Longhurst. It is a very long one, as Neil said, just over 7 seconds.
Now 8.5 seconds.
8.5. Alan Jones, third on the racetrack, but has incurred a 1-minute penalty for jumping the start. And then, of course, very close, as you'll see now, exiting that corner. Just look at Jimmy Richards and Glenn Seaton. They are getting into pretty close combat as they come up to the left-hander. This is probably the next passing move of the race. Seaton has been able to haul in the Nissan. It's still a little skatey.
4th and 5th. Behind them we have Johnson, Bow, Bond, Percy and Perkins.
Yes, well, at this rate of acceleration, there'll be no stopping Peter Brock. I can't see how that kind of a gap can be reduced. He can nurse whatever problems might pop up on him, and certainly his choice of Bridgestones has given him a good run here today.
Here's our Dulux Auto Colour race cam, and zap down on the inside goes Glenn Seaton. So Jimmy Richards goes back 1 in the pack. Glenn Seaton doing a good job. He's up 1 and starting to close now on Alan Jones. But make no mistake, Jim Richards hasn't thrown it away as yet, but Dick Johnson is getting very, very close to the tail of the Nissan. He has picked up Jim Richards in the last lap.
And Dick Johnson is now where he wants to be. His concentration factor has just jumped by a factor of 100. With that Nissan number 2 in front of him, will concentrate his energies marvelously.
He's got the carrot now, hasn't he?
Well,
just where he'd like it. The Brock gap now out to just over 9 seconds. He's increasing that gap at a rate of about 6 to 7 tenths a lap, which is quite remarkable at this stage of the race.
Well, they've obviously picked a tire that is just ideal for the day, and they got the man behind the wheel that can make best use of it.
They exit Kolb corner, work their way to the top of Motorcraft Hill. Here's Dick Johnson moving up right behind Jimmy Richards. Time to check out our race score for you, courtesy of Shell. Peter Brock is your race leader from Tony Longhurst. Alan Jones provisionally 3rd. Glenn Seaton runs in 4th, and 5th, Jimmy Richards. we're back at Wanneroo Park for the Shell Ultra Australian Touring Car Championship round. Dickie Johnson, car number 17, being able to get through on the inside of Jim Richards in the Nissan GTR. And a good passing move. We'll replay that for you in a moment or two to show how Johnson was able to effect a pass. In fact, here it was just the previous lap, coming down on the inside of the Nissan. Takes him quite cleanly on the inside. Jim has a little debate, wants to fight back as they go down to the next right-hander. But Dick had too much squirt and is able to pull across and take that position up. But we do have a very interesting race going here, apart from Peter Brock, who's still sprinting away from the rest of the field.
I'm surprised that Dick's putting this much pressure on himself. I thought he would have been quite happy to just sit behind that GTR for a while and choose his moment, but he's just said, no, I can pass him, so I'm going to, and obviously now is getting away from him.
And just look who's sitting back behind them again. The Laughing Cavalier, Colin Bond, sits behind John Bowe in the second of the Johnson cars, number 18, the Shell Ultra High Sierra. Once again through Kolb Corner, and they work their way up Motorcraft Hill.
About 25. Brock's just done 26 laps of racing and coming up to about the 30-minute mark in this event. And he's got a margin of just in excess of 10 seconds, and the most recent lap was a 61.5.
And I can't recall a soul in this year's Touring Car Championship that's opened up a 10-second break over the field.
No, that's a tremendous performance. He was looking extremely good yesterday, qualified well to take second position on the front row, as we mentioned earlier, but he's got that kind of Bathurst bite in him today. And out in front, he's a very hard man to find.
Colin Bond here in 7th position.
Just
also
ahead, I'm sorry, Neil, I was just going to say, just ahead of them, Bowe is getting very serious about trying to pass Jimmy Richards too.
Colin's the inform operator of the bunch at the moment, fresh from 2 victories, and third in the championship with 61 points, and just traditionally, at least in the last 2 meetings, made very good tyre decisions. And we're starting to see him come back up on the end of the rubber band as well at the moment.
Well, there's nothing the Shell team would love more than to get another car in front of Jimmy Richards.
Oh, what a huge lose from one of the Shell cars. He's
Dick
Johnson. And something broke at the front of the car. I just happened to be looking out the front window here, and it was enormous amount of spark and garbage from the front right-hand corner. Look, he's lost a front right. The car, some major failure at the front of the car, double yellow flags out there. And Johnson in real trouble.
Gee, that is bad luck for
that
the
is
points.
terrible luck.
And Dick's about to climb out with the...
Got to get his 7 commentary aerial off.
Yes. So he's had a suspension failure by the look of it, and it's gone straight across the road and buried itself in the sand pit.
That started a long way back up that straight. So replay here. This is the aftermath right at the bottom corner. But I can tell you that for the best part, I reckon, of 300 metres, the car was doing 140, 150 mile an hour with a great sheet of sparks coming off it. Johnson went through one spin, was lucky not to be collected by other traffic, and has deposited a major amount of dirt and garbage on the entry to the pit straight. Unbelievable.
Well, that's terrible luck. That car's never had a failure in a race, and today had to be its day. That's shocking. They've got my sympathy on that one. But he handled it well. You saw him go to the right of the track. He was away from the commentary.
I think there's a problem with the John Bowe car too on the last lap through. The car sounded very rough. Colin Bond's now gone by. So Peter Brock the leader. Tony Longhurst second. Then we've got Alan Jones being pursued by Glenn Seaton. Colin Bond now moves up ahead of John Bowe, Jim Richards.
We know one thing, Jim Richards will be sighing a big sigh of relief. All he has to do is finish now. It doesn't matter where he goes. He's going to get more points than Dick Johnson's going to have.
Well, Dick's 3 up, isn't he, going into this one?
Yep. It looks like a shootout in the final at Oran Park, Mike.
It makes an Alan Jones appeal very necessary for the B&H team if they're talking about points. But there's the man who's leading this ever so comfortably today at Wanneroo in the West, Peter Brock, the mobile team Sierra.
Last lap for Peter was a 62.2. He's covered 31 laps. Prompts the question, Alan, that such as the the performance of Peter in this car and the tyre combination at the moment, I just wonder whether or not maybe it's a softer tyre or you even contemplate a stop. I do remember a certain friend of mine at one stage stopping here.
I don't
think
remember
so?
any of that.
No?
I don't. We had the fastest stop in our life in our Peter Stuyvesant RX-7. People just couldn't believe it. I doubt whether that's the case. I really don't. I think they've got their chassis working extremely well. Peter works hard on the car personally. By that I mean behind the wheel. He's a great manager. He gets a lot out of his team, and I believe they've just come up with a combination that has served them extremely well here.
It certainly has, because
A lot of people think
massive.
we just get in the cars and drive them, Neil. You know yourself that's the perfection that you chase that gives you performance, and all the little things that make the car go better. And if you have a team that will back you and help you, and dedicated mechanics, then you can get phenomenal results from any given race car. It's only a piece of metal on 4 tires.
Here's Jimmy Richards making a move now on John Bowe down the inside. Moment of truth. John will go in deep. Jim's trying to go in. Almost a little touch there. That was very, very close.
You won't see Jim Richards touching anybody, mate. That he will never do that.
I was suggesting that maybe John came across the front very late.
Well, he may have come a little bit late there, but that's fair enough too. He's not going to make any mistakes.
14.5 seconds for Peter Brock to Tony Longhurst at the moment. So
that's annihilation. That's just not
They'll
performance.
swab him. He's running on bedrock specials.
Well, they'll check him for sure. You can be sure of one thing. It'll get a very good look at post-race scrutineering. That's done with all cars that finish in the first 3. No, credit to him. He flagged everybody at Malala that this was on the cards. You don't get the performance he did around Malala without good, hard effort. And I think he was unlucky at Malala.
Yeah, he was. There's the Johnson car off in the sandpit as Johnny Bowe pulls out to put a lap on Chris Lambden and the Bow repairs Skyline. And here comes Gentleman Jim storming down the inside and the Nissan GTR. And this time he takes John Bowe on the inside.
Yes.
That's another championship point. Now up through the S's. To the left-hander.
well, interesting. I took the headset off the last time through, Alan, to see whether or not there may have been a problem with the Bowe car. I thought I could have sworn a couple of laps ago the car had a misfire in it when it went down beneath our commentary point. I'll check that again next time through, but performance of the car seems fine at the moment, but Richo's certainly working pretty hard and is gaining
John
valuable
Bowes
points.
Not the person to play with. If he can get by, he will. Jim has to decide. Of course, Freddie Gibson will be telling him, take it easy or accelerate. I don't imagine that they've got too much to worry about with Dick Johnson in the sandpit.
Problem for Tony Longhurst. The car's just slowed dramatically on pit straight, and Longhurst in real strife, gesticulating towards the pit crew.
Well, quite honestly, every car that falls out now between Peter Brock and Jim Richards is going to make life very difficult for Dick Johnson, even in the last race. Every point that the new Nissan picks up today is really icing on the cake for them. Just to be ahead on points of the Johnson car is great, but now to start cashing in on some top points up at the top of the field is really going to make life
look at
hard.
this, problems for Tony Longhurst running second on the road in the number 25 car. Colin Bond has already zipped around the outside of him. And Bond closes in now on Neville Crichton, putting a lap on Neville, driving the third of the B&H cars. So drama for Tony Longhurst, a big problem there for Longhurst. Has dropped back through the pack and probably headed for the pits this time round. See whether he takes the left-hander and heads off into pit lane. There's the Dick Johnson car. Now he continues. Coming into the pits at the moment, Tony Longhurst, car number 25, signalling to the crew. Should have Dave Christensen down there for to see exactly what the problem is over there. In the meantime, Crichton goes through in car number 62.
Well, Neville having a run in the championship again in this round, which is fantastic to see. That very successful Sydney businessman and a very accomplished racer. We've seen some great performances from Neville. It's good to have him back this weekend in the B&H car 62, forming a part of the 3-car team this weekend. Tony Longhurst, Alan Jones, Neville Crichton.
That's a big ask too, Neil. 3 cars, people think, oh, well, what's one more? That's 2. One more than 2. It isn't. Running 3 cars is a dilemma for any team. It's a lot of work, and credit to them. They're well presented, and they're doing a good job.
Gerald Kay pulling out behind the Dulux Autocolour tyre marshalling point there halfway down the back straight. Yeah, certainly a logistical nightmare running 3 cars. This is Jim Richards, car 2.
Well, Jim will know that for sure Longhurst is in the pits, and he'll also know that Jones has a 1-minute penalty. So
we might go down to the pits. I think Dave Christensen's down there. We'll see whether or not we can establish the problem with car 25, Tony Longhurst. Dave?
Mike, they've changed all the tyres. They're having trouble getting the temperature right, the operating temperature right by the looks of things, and they're now going underneath the car, so things are not looking good for Tony Longhurst at the moment. Incidentally, Dick Johnson diplomatically doesn't feel like talking just at this very moment. Longhurst has now cut the engine, so I'd say that's the race.
Thank you, David.
I'm sure that Dick got a nice fright when that happened. Every race driver fears something breaking, particularly on the front suspension, and I'm sure it was only his lightning reactions that saved him. That could have been quite nasty. It could have dug in. It could have hit a rut in the rabbit hole or anything out there in no man's land, another car, and done a big roll. We saw how easy Hickey's car went over.
Let's check them out for you now on the Toyota race score. This jumble race from Wanneroo. Peter Brock is your race leader from Alan Jones. Glenn Seaton now is 3rd. Colin Bond runs in 4th spot and up to 5th. And with no Dick Johnson in the field is Jimmy Richards. Back here at Wanneroo, round 7 of the championship continues with Peter Brock as leader from Glenn Seaton and Colin Bond. Don't forget the grand final of the Shell Ultra Australian Touring Car Championship will be held at Sydney's Oran Park Raceway on Sunday, July 15. So make sure you're trackside for the war on wheels. If you can't, don't forget, we'll have it for you on 7 between 5 and 6 Eastern. It should be a beauty.
Peter Brock, the leader, with 39 laps completed. Car number 35 now in 2nd position, according to our reckoning. Glenn Seaton, great performance from the Peter Jackson team. Colin Bond now in 3rd place, car 8. In 4th place on the road, although in the pits at the moment, is the Alan Jones car number 20 B&H car. Jim Richards next in car 2, then Wyn Percy moving through the pack.
Okay, here's Peter Brock, our race leader, doing it so easy here in the West. Let's go down to the pits to Dave Christensen.
Tony, an early exit, what happened?
It looks like the front seal of my calipers is let go, and it's just letting the fluid go straight out onto the disc, as if when you're bleeding the brakes, it's just spraying it out everywhere.
You tried one more lap, just no good?
Yes, the boys thought they might have been able to fix it, but it's there's no solution. That's it for the day for us.
Jones is going all right?
Yeah, he's just coming for a pit stop. I don't know why his tyres look like they could have done a few more laps, but it's the way it goes.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you to Tony Longhurst. Bad luck continues for the B&H boys. A 1 minute penalty for AJ for jumping the start, and then Tony out of action.
Well, Brocky in front, and his spark plugs are certainly firing on all four here for him today. He's got no engine problems. He's got no tire problems. In fact, I would think he would be whistling Dixie right at the moment, saying, how long has it been?
Look at the gap there, Alan. We've seen our leader go through. Now we're waiting, of course, for the 35, Glenn Seaton.
You'll have to tread water for a while.
Who runs second, of course, in the Peter Jackson Sierra. There's Glenn coming through now. Of course, Colin Bond is third in the Caltech Sierra, and look, here he comes.
Yes. Right in there again for another finish. A tremendous performance over the last 3 races for Colin.
Kevin Waldock going through, a consistent runner in the Playscape Racing Sierra. Good to see Kevin. He's been a privateer, doing very well on the championship trail this year, but Bondi running on rock hards and picking them up in the second half of each race.
Peter Brock's now got a 20.5 second margin over Glenn Seaton.
This is great. Kevin Waldock wants to run 2 cars at Bathurst. We'll be looking for some support from the fraternity next week.
He's got
anybody thinking about going to Bathurst certainly could do worse than working with the Playscape organization.
There's Colin Bond, one of the veterans of the sport. He's certainly been around for a few years. Just how many I'm not sure of, but I believe that Henry Ford once rang him about his opinion on beam front axles. But he is really doing well this year. Bondi in the Caltech Sierra.
2 wins from the last 2 starts, 61 points in the championship, behind Dick Johnson, Jim Richards. And he's got a pretty safe margin at the moment over Jim as Colin exits the pit straight. Jim is just coming into it in the GTR. And the margin is 11.5 seconds, and then
we should understand that the weight that the new Nissan is carrying is the same as the Commodores. A lot of people say, oh, the small car must be the same as the Sierra. It isn't. It's carrying considerably more weight than the Sierras, and exactly the same amount as a Commodore. And
speaking of that, Alan, Wyn Percy's not too far away at the moment from assaulting the back of Jim Richards. There's Wyn in car 16, Holden Racing Team entry. So that's a significant point that you're right, a lot of people overlook. You're hauling around something in excess of 1,350 kilograms.
It's a lot.
And the tyres yelp after an hour of hard work.
They do. And the comment is made that we've got engines that are almost as powerful as Formula One engines on tyres that are about a quarter as wide as the width of a Formula One tyre.
Good performance from Wyn. He's up to 5th place now in car number 16. And like most of the teams this weekend, Wally Story and the boys opted for a very hard tyre to carry through for 45 minutes of racing.
Look at this. Alan Jones, who's gone out with fresh rubber.
Bit of a scrap.
Well, I think trying to come up with the fastest lap of the day. Brocky really doesn't need to get involved in any of this stuff at the moment. And has wisely given AJ the berth to go by and try and see what you can do.
This will be Peter's first win for how long? Can anybody remember? It's
Well, they've taken the last lap, and it looks like the first win coming up for Peter Brock for season 1990.
Oran Park last year.
Okay.
I think.
Well, he's got it up with the penultimate round this year. He saved for grand final last year. But it's going to be a great and a very resounding win for Peter Brock in car number 05 for the mobile team. They've done so well here today. Dictated the pace in unofficial practice on Friday. Was beaten only by Tony Longhurst for pole, but keep in mind he was the fastest man in the warm-up this morning, and that's when everyone is geared up to go racing, not to be the fastest Sierra on a Saturday.
Exactly. They've worked hard. This is what a lot of us feel, Mike. We don't want to see Brocky in a Bridgestone mobile combination.
Okay, they're coming down to the final corner now. Peter Brock has arrived back in victory lane. He comes out of the last corner. The crowd here at Wanneroo Park going absolutely berserk. And Brocky coasts across the line. He's going to do it with style, with grace, and plenty up his sleeve here today. Second spot will go to Glenn Seaton, and what a great finish for young Glenn and the Peter Jackson Racing Sierra, car number 35. He'll come across the line in just a second or so as Brocky goes through. There's Glenn, and third man home today, keeping his championship hopes alive, is Colin Bond, about to sprint across the line now. So Bondy gets across in third, and Jimmy Richards will take fourth place in the new Nissan GTR. A sensational finish for Peter Brock. Fantastic performance. Jimmy Richards across the line now, and Win Percy will round out the 5.
A great time to get a win.
Okay, Brody.
Just everybody thinking about what we have to do at Bathurst. Can we do it? The fellows have worked hard. They've got their victory. Brocky will be pleased personally. Has to be.
Let's check them out then, Al, on the Shell race score. Peter Brock is your round winner from Wanneroo. Glenn Seaton places second. Third place to the Mr. Reliable Colin Bond. Fourth goes to Jimmy Richards in the Nissan, and rounding out the 5, welcome back to Holden and to Win Percy. We'll be back in just a moment.